All right, let's begin by engaging the abdominal corset. Here we go. Hi, I'm Candace Gourdain, and I'm glad you're here. I want to welcome you to our Pilates session today. Let's work on that abdominal corset. It's always been one of my favorite concepts of Pilates. So let's inhale and stretch up. Exhale and lean over. I want to remind you that you have to create a space to do this. Inhale up, exhale over. Let's just do two more. So find the breath, move it into the ribs. When you exhale, squeeze around the waist. So keep engaging that abdominal corset. Let's come up, stretch your legs out in front. Let's reach the arms out to the side. Inhale, and then exhale, twist. Inhale. When you exhale, scoop the lower belly inward and upward. So begin practicing. That exhale, that creates movement around the abdominals. So that abdominal corset is the powerhouse or a band of energy that enlivens you and brings your spine up. So a lot of times people will tell me I have pain in my back or my neck or my shoulders. And one of the first things people tell me is because I have bad posture. Maybe it's because I'm a yoga Pilates instructor. They feel like they should say that. But generally what I've found is if you think you have bad posture, you probably don't. It's one of those awareness things, two more times, that if you're aware of posture, you're probably paying attention to it sometimes. One more time, keep the shoulders rolled back and down. Good, let's just come to center and reach the arms overhead and extend back and come up. Now begin reaching the arms forward, pulling the shoulders onto the back, curling the upper back, chin to chest, rounding the middle back, rounding the low back and reaching maybe past the toes, and then slowly unfurling the spine all the way back up. So shoulders rolled back, spine long. Exhale and curl the upper back, chin to chest, the middle back, those middle back ribs, the lower back, the lumbar spine, and then stretch if you can past the toes, and then begin slowly moving back up and into center, setting the shoulder blades back on. And then exhale and get that Pilates, abdominal scooping. So keep weaving together. So we can all picture a corset. So picture this corset weaving together. So like you're threading together more and more. And then as you go kind of up the ribs, you're creating an over, what you call it, like an undertow, and then a crest of the wave over. So do two more times like this. Each time bring your mind back to concentrating and how you're moving the spine. So what I'm saying this week is that movement rescues you. So let's say you're having a bad day. Let's roll all the way down. You're having a bad day. Something's gone, very wrong today. And you don't know where to go, what to turn to. So movement rescues you from that feeling that I don't know where to turn to. Let's stretch the arms out, turn the palms face down. We'll lift the legs up, knees stacked over the hips. Now just carefully push the heels together. All right, go back to Pilates breathing. Inhale the ribs, exhale, scoop the belly. Inhale the ribs, exhale. Now turn the legs out. Now just kind of shoot the legs out and pull the heels in. All right, so now synchronize the breath. It's inhale when the legs come in, exhale when the legs go out. So there's a lot of little refinement, but what I want you to focus on today is the abdominal corset pulling in and generating heat. So things, moving and touching each other generate electricity, generate energy. So think about all the energy in our body. We often measure in this word calories. So I know that I get your attention when I say calories. So use the abdominal corset and the abdominal powerhouse to burn and stimulate the use of heat, calories. Do two more like this. Get that undertow of the wave, the abdominals going up under the rib cage. Keep the shoulder blades pressed down into the mat. And then from here, bring the knees a little bit further in, stretch the legs out to the side, and then kind of snap the heels together. So inhale down and out. Exhale, squeeze the belly, snap the legs together. So it's never about getting these poses or these exercises perfect, going through the motions over and over and over so that you can perform. It's always about finding the strength and courage to squeeze into your center and breathe with the rhythms of life. What does that mean? These things I get to say. Exhale, squeeze the belly. So the life is generated, kind of in the gut. That's where we're creating the energy to get up and do things. So focus your mind on what it is you're doing. So the legs are doing this, frog kick thing. But really your mind is controlling the abdominals. 2 more times. I'm feeling this. Have I already done too many of these? Exhale. Exhale. Almost release the legs down. Wow. Just rock the hips side to side. Feel that. So all we do in Pilates, as we do in every other exercise or movement, is you just begin again. So wherever you are today, give yourself a break. Work on the breathing. Just create the space for movement potential. So let's try the roll over. So I say try, and I always use this language like invite, because it's just not for everyone. Press the arms down by the sides, pull the shoulder blades down onto the back. Now just practice that Pilates scoop or that abdominal corseting, weaving together like you're tying all these knots around your waist. Then with control, for now, keep the spine long. So from the crown of the head to the tailbone, lengthen. Then begin to levitate the legs, scooping and holding the abdominals. Then try drawing the knees in closer to the chest. For this moment, the spine is just staying long and unmoving. But then, as the knees come in closer to the chest, you squeeze the lower belly and begin to rock the pelvis backward. So remember what the pelvis looks like. It looks kind of like a bowl connected to a string. That would be your spinal column there. Then push with your hands down, squeeze your lower abdominals, and see if you can levitate your pelvis up off the floor. You may be able to curl a little bit further, squeezing the lower belly, squeezing that middle back. Remember, we did this before. Lifting the hips, maybe you can go up higher, so your legs sort of slide up over your head until you come to your shoulder blades. Now, as slowly as you can, begin putting one vertebrae down. Don't fall all at once. Then the next vertebrae, then the next. Keep squeezing and controlling the abdominal corset the whole time. Eventually, the low back begins to touch. You try to keep the tailbone up off the floor and then roll the pelvis down. Let's try that again. I say try, just invite this to happen. Hands into the floor, shoulder blades down. Lift the legs up, lengthen the spine. Now control the abdominals, drop it down, down, down. As you draw the knees in closer, 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 you begin to rock the pelvis backward. So if I could slow you down, I would do that. Let the pelvis now rise up off the floor, because I don't want you to throw anything around. Now the middle back curls. Now the upper back, and get all the way up until the shoulder blades, and then slowly descend from the upper back to the middle back, eventually the lower back, and then the top rim of the pelvis, and then the pelvis, and down. We got one more attempt, friends. One more attempt. Here we go. Maybe it didn't work the first two. This one's going to be the charm, as they say. So lifting the knees towards the chest, rocking the pelvis backward, rounding the low back, rounding the middle back, rounding them all the way up to the shoulder blades, and hold. Now unfurl one vertebrae at a time. The upper back, the middle back, eventually the lower back, then the top rim of the pelvis, and then the pelvis, and down. I want to say, like, that's it. Go home. You're done. That was enough, right? That was plenty. Woo. Let's try that one leg stretch. So let's start with the actual stretch. One leg up, one leg out. Okay, so that was called the Pilates rollover. Those of you who are like taking copious notes and want to learn everything you can about how Pilates, the actual system, that's called the rollover. There's a couple other things like a jackknife that look a lot like the yoga plow, I guess. Let's just switch legs. All we're doing is stretching that leg right now. The purpose of almost every Pilates exercise is to strengthen the core, to lengthen the spine, to gain control of the muscles so that your body is a balanced network of machinery, of forces, levers, of action, pushing and pulling, so that there's an open space. All right, here we go. You're holding onto one leg. Hold it any way you want, right? You hold your knee any way you want. You can keep the knee bent. If you can and want to, curl the chin to the chest and hollow out the abdominal bowl. Remember that corset. Squeeze and weave together, like so, all around the waist. Levitate the other leg. Point both ankles. Exhale to switch. Exhale to switch. Exhale. Exhale. Okay, so you can go double time. Inhale, switch. Exhale, switch. Inhale, switch. Exhale, switch. Inhale, switch. Exhale, switch. Or you can go, half time when you're not going as fast. That's called half time. All right, so always lengthening the spine. Now the legs and the arms are really just extensions of the concept that the spine is lengthening. So 3, 2, so you can feel kind of your skin stretching, and 1, and release. I don't know about you, Candace, my skin isn't done stretching. My skin has given up trying to stretch. Okay, we're stretching the fascia. How's that? You should be able to feel the pull of that fascia. All right, let's try our roll up now. So if that was roll over, roll up must be the other way. Stretch long. Exhale, lift the arms. Draw the chin to the chest. Curl the upper back. Curl the middle back. Curl the lower back. Round all the way up. Let's try that again. I don't like how I did that. So roll down. Let's just kind of roll down slowly. I'm not going to do my over-directing thing here. When you get all the way down, lengthen. Inhale. Exhale, round. Upper back. Round the middle back. Round the lower back. Hinge and come all the way up. So let's come back at halfway down where we're on the elbows. What is she doing today? She seems to be like on something. I just get really excited about exercise. Many of you know me. That's just how I am. Stretch the legs up if you want. You can keep the legs bent if you want. Let's try twisting your hips to one side, dropping your legs down, almost like your feet are scooping through the water until you twist it to the other side and then came back up. So try twisting, dropping, scooping, turning, and coming back up the other side. All right, now that you've got what the legs are doing, control the hip movement with the abs. So everything that we just did, this really is no different from the rollover or that roll up, in that the abdominals are doing all the work of controlling the movements, or in this case, very little movement in the spine. Of course, the sacrum is twisting around in the base of the spine. That's okay. We're controlling that. As long as we're controlling it, it's always safe. Three, 2, well, what do we have to do, guys? We have to go the other way. Okay, so if you have these long legs and you want to do that, do that. But let me remind you about some physics here. If you have longer legs, well, you obviously have longer muscles and tendons, but get this, your muscles and tendons aren't that much bigger than a small person. It's just the way, it's just biology. You're not gonna have a gigantic tendon because you have a super long leg. So you're putting a lot more pressure on fewer fibers, percentage-wise. So be careful. Probably don't put your legs all the way out. Come back to center. I'm really feeling this. Let's bend the knees, twist the hips to the side, drop your feet down to the floor, and then extend the legs out. Bend the knees, twist over to the other side, drop the feet down to the floor, and extend the legs up and out. So at the center, you twist over. You tap floor, tap out, and back to center. So twist, tap, extend, and center. Twist. You got it. You figured this out by now. All right. So what I said before I put the camera on was, we know that Pilates is good for us. And I think that's sort of one of those euphemisms for I don't want to do it. It's too hard. It is. So it's kind of fun. It's great we get to do this together, and we're working hard together, and we're feeling good together. So we're getting a benefit of all the exercise, but also a little bit of, well, she's in it with me, so this isn't so bad. 2 more times. But remind yourself of the benefits, that every time this is a little bit challenging, your body is adapting and growing. Growing in a good way. I'm going to be careful there. All right. When you're ready now, let's come around to hands and knees pose. Let's go this way. Woo. You got the ball? If you got the ball, or even if it's like a tennis ball, anything you've got. Maybe it's just your dog toy happens to be sitting in the living room. See if you can get it in the crook there of the back of your knee. If you can't, that's okay. All we're going to do is lift and tap. Now, take a look at your monitor. Take a look in the mirror. Take a look at the reflection wherever you are. You're next to somebody. Take a look at them. You know, say, keep your back straight here. Squeeze the abdominals inward. Remember, we started out with that, concentrating on the abdominal corset, on the band of energy that wraps around, called the powerhouse. It controls the belly. And I use this word belly on purpose because belly's a good thing. You know, it's where digestion happens. It's the center of our center. Now little lifts up. So little kick up, just, 2 inches up and down. Protect against the lean. The lean, you're like, I don't want to do this. So protect against that. Squeeze the belly inward, upward. Remember, we want to stoke the fire of metabolism. So kind of forcefully exhale. Let's do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, let's go over to the other leg. So anything you got there, whether it's, a squeak toy, who knows, maybe you got a squeak toy and every time you lift your leg, it squeaks. So lift up. What's wrong? I don't have a squeak toy, but every time I lift my leg, something is squeaking. Do joints squeak now? Squeeze the abdominals. Squeeze the abdominals. You ever have this where you're walking around and you hear like voices and no, that's just you, Candace. Once again. And your phone has started like talking, like something is going, something has started just playing on its own. What's that voice? Squeeze your abdominals. Squeeze your abdominals. Control that the spine. Remember, the whole point here is the spine to stay long. After 3, squeeze the lower abdominals. Now lift the leg up in those little 2-inch pulses. We're going to feel so good after this. I promise. I have a money-back guarantee that you will always feel better after a session of yoga or Pilates. Can't make that claim about some things, right? I'll always feel better. Forcefully exhale and envelope the lower abdominals inward, upward. How about 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Oh, come all the way down to the belly. Turn around again. Come down to the belly. Ooh. Oh, that was good. That was good glute exercise and lower back exercise. And I can't say enough about how much the low back needs to be strengthened. When we talk about abdominals, most of us consider the front of our bodies, like that's our abs, that's because that's what we can see, we want that to look good, I guess. But the abs are, I should say, a really important part of the abs, wrap around and hold the back in place too. So let's go for a little swim here. We'll just stretch the arms and the legs out in opposing directions. So don't look at me, just listen to me. Bring the crown of the head up towards your fingers. Now paddle the arms and the legs. Now remember that Pilates breath. So you're inhaling, exhaling. And you're forcefully kind of almost pursing your lips and blowing out and blowing the candles and squeezing the belly up off the floor. So focus on that wrap around the abdominals. And again, you're lengthening the arms and the legs. So there's even energy kind of like shooting from like fingertips to toes, and everything is being energized from the abdominal, fire. 3, 2, and 1. Push all the way back to child's pose. Yes, you're doing it. You're doing it. Remember, all you really have to do is show up and carve out space, physical space, like let's say your living room, or you find yourself, but time space. The time space, is that a thing? Make time for this. That by the end of each day, you only have a certain amount of energy and you run out of energy and you say, oh, I didn't get to exercise today, I didn't get to move today, I didn't go for that walk today. Your whole day, it feels better every time you start it with this kind of thing. Let's come to a lunge. Step 1 foot forward and then lean forward. Feeling that glute, I want to stretch the glute too. So reach forward and then rock back. Now here's the funny thing that I need to convince you of. Whether you exercise a lot, you're really consistent, you got that chart up on your wall, you check it off, and then you email your favorite personal trainer and say, hey, I worked out today, make her feel really good. Or you kind of have been skipping for this past week, month, year, your body's gonna feel stiff and tight. Either way. So one thing I know for sure is that when you come down to the mat and you do any of these stretches, you're going to start feeling better and it's going to be meaningful. So this time push forward, whatever the opposite hand is, push that one down, and then turn your chest towards this front knee. So spin the chest like facing the other way. Three breaths. These aren't really Pilates breaths. These are more those deep, expansive, refueling breaths. And then push back and move to the other side. So other step forward. Whatever your ritual is, push forward. Feel that stretch in the hip flexor and then push back. Feel the glute and the hamstring. Stick to it. Our minds and our bodies like doing the same thing. Imagine if every day when you woke up, you had to figure out what you had to do. And I mean, like, who am I? Who do I live with? What car do I drive? What job do I go to? That'd be way too much. How do I get food? That's way too much. Our bodies like that. Our minds like that. I can predict what's really going to happen today. And if one of those things is something that makes you feel good, that's going to color the entire day, kind of like this sunrise. Push forward and then push your hand into your knee and turn your chest towards that knee, kind of pulling your knee in towards your chest. Feel that good stretch. Keep discovering the reasons why you're doing that. That's really part of my job, is to keep convincing you that the benefits are well worth whatever the challenge was for you to get here or to try. I know I started with that rollover. One more breath. All right, let's step back and come into a downward dog. You know what that is, right? That's where you turn your toes under, you lift your hips, and you press back. Operative word there is pushing back. Now the hips are going up and back. Wiggle your toes. Enjoy the process. Now walk your hands, so bend your knees and walk your hands backward. So walk your hands back. When you come to your forward fold, walk your hands up to your knees. Now from here, do push, but tuck the tailbone under and round the low back. You know where I'm going with this. Round the middle back. Round the upper back. as you're straightening and you're coming up and up and up and up. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna walk out to what you would call a plank and walk back. This is actually a really common Pilates move that I don't typically do. But here we go. Let's see if it works. So first, master the rising upward. So press the toes down and elongate. So the visual image is taking a spring and elongating up, then beginning to curl down from the top like we did when we were seated, but now we get to go further. And then tuck the chin down. Scoop the belly up. Scoop from the sides up. Now round the upper back. So your low back is still mostly straight. You may have to check in on it. Now round the middle back. That should be really hard to do. Like you're taking these middle ribs and pushing them into the back wall. Now around the lower back. I want you to feel the difference. Once we get to the hips, there's really not much left. This is all almost done here. Now around the top of rim of the pelvis, just to make sure you got that low back. Then begin hinging at the hips. Now for a lot of us, the hinge at the hips is the hard part. So bend your knees so that you're sort of squatting. Once you get there, plant the hands. We're gonna take 3 steps forward. 1, 2, 3. Then the hands come, like in a plank. Then we lower down, we push back up, and then you got it. We're gonna walk back 3. 1, 2, 3. Bend the knees, walk the hands up to them. Now, whatever you want to do with your legs is fine, but focus now on curling the low back, curling the mid back, curling the upper back, and then kind of like a spring, uncoil from the low back, the middle back, the upper back. There we go. Inhale, grow up tall. Exhale, chin to chest, upper back curls, middle back curls, lower back curls. Hinge at the hips as you bend the knees. Walk forward 3. 1, 2, 3. Go down, up. Now walk back 3. 1, 2, 3. Hands to knees. Low back curls. Middle back curls. Upper back. Shoulders set. One more time. Exhale. Belly in. Round upper back. Middle back. Lower back. Then the knees come down. Walk forward 3. 1, 2, 3. Go down, up. Walk back. 1, 2, 3. Walk your hands to your knees. Rock the tailbone under. Round the low back. Really puff out the low back. Round the middle back. Really those low ribs press back. Round the upper back and come all the way up. Fantastic. Let's do one bar move while we're here, because we might as well. Go to the bar. I haven't heard that joke in a while. I say in my class, do you want to do bar? And always, yeah, I want to go to the bar, Candace. I'll go with you. Let's take a step out. Haven't heard that joke in a while. Missed that one. Let's just do some releve. Now, I'm really supposed to start Pilates, some of you know, by talking about your feet. And I should probably do every time talking about our feet, because what carries us around? It's not the legs, it's the feet. And those arches of the feet, they really need just as much attention as your abdominals. So your arches of your feet are the abdominals of your feet. They're the middle thing that holds everything together. Now pay attention that you're not just rolling out to the pinky toes. You want to sort of roll more towards that second toe, the one next to the big toe. That's the one that's sort of in control here. So zip in and up, hold this, this ball of energy in front of your belly. Pull the shoulders back. Now try lifting up and holding. Now let's try pliing. So you may want and have to take the heels down. It's always just an invitation to try. What's going on with your breath? Keep remembering this Pilates scoop. If you remember nothing else, squeeze into the abdominals. You could do my 45-minute class and just listen to the breathing and just listen to the Pilates scooping action and get more than enough. So if you're actually doing every single exercise with me, you're getting double or triple your value, because you're doing all of that. Now hold down, lift the arms out in front. Let's take the arms out and in. Let's just do a couple of these. Squeeze the abdominals. Keep the shoulder blades down. 4, 3, 2. Take the fingers together in front. Lift the arms up overhead. Now put one heel down and lift, then the other one down and lift. I'm really challenging. Your legs and your quads now are rocking and shaking like there's, a quad quake going on. I may have just made that up. I know you know what a quad quake is. It's that vibration. You know you're alive when you do this. 4, 3. Oh, she's doing that slow counting. 2 and 1. All right, let's come all the way out of that. Make your way safely back down to a seated pose. So however you do that, come down safely. Good. Let's take a stretch. You want to? Let's take both legs over to one side. Take the hand on the side that there's no leg and reach up and over. Now slowly begin to circle this upper body. And so I say the upper body, and probably what you see is my arm. Think about that the whole thing is moving. We just did some good work. I don't know if you noticed that we did a couple of like push-ups in there. And so your chest is probably feeling that. And your legs might still be feeling what we just did. So now swim the whole body. All right, so your breath can be nice and slow, that expansive refueling, refilling, making yourself feel better again. You ever notice when you exercise, the simplest little easing up, whether it's stopping to take a breath or take a drink or just stopping for a moment, feels so amazing. You just can't believe it. Take the arm up and over, kind of come down if you can to the elbow. Then take this arm and kind of dive it forward so it's just like hanging in front of you. So this top shoulder can fall down. Kind of come up so that you can look back, and I want you to find that back ankle. So your hand is going to try grabbing that ankle and lifting the leg up. Really, Candace? Really? Yes. And then drop your knee down. So you're pulling your heel backward and pushing your knee downward and pulling the whole thing back. We're getting kind of a quad stretch after that quad that we did a few minutes ago. You can come down lower if you want. I'll remind you, how long you hold stretches is as long as you have. That's really the right answer. 20 minutes per muscle is not ridiculous. But typically we say a minute because that's about how long your attention span is. So that's how long you probably will. So let's say a minute is the right answer. It's like, how much money do you want? How do you answer that question? How much money do you want? As much that I have my basic needs met, right? So basic needs are, we have to give the muscle fiber long enough to release the nervous energy. So the mind is always talking to the muscle and saying, contract. In fact, that's all I can really say. Now squeeze the glute of the leg you're holding. Squeeze that glute. Feel something in the front of the hip flexor, right? That's good. We want to always remind ourselves of that. All right, release that, make your way over to the other side. Oh, we're gonna need a back stretch after that one. So we're bringing both legs onto one side. What did we do here? I think we leaned over and we started to kind of circle the spine around. Enjoy. Enjoy absorbing. We really are done with the hard part. This is all just stretch from here on out. So open up and like absorb. What you've done is you've purified your blood. How's that? You've purified your blood. So blood, not all blood is the same. You know, sometimes blood is, got a lot of oxygen in it, nutrients in it, right? It's just a conduit. It's like a road. Sometimes it's full of stuff. Sometimes there's a traffic jam. Sometimes there's like nothing there. So when I say we purified your blood, what I mean is we got rid of the stuff we don't want. You know, we cleared out the debris. Like they used to clean roads, right? Where I'm from, they would clean the roads. A road sweeper would come by and clean it. And so that's essentially what we did. When you're ready, take this arm up and over, maybe come down more towards the elbow on the floor. Really what we're doing is good for our mental health. When we come down to it, what we're really doing is good for our mental health. Now take this arm forward and down. So what movement does is it resolves mental conflict. That if you're stuck mentally, many times it has something to do with the fact that you're stuck physically, that you're like not. You know, as soon as that dark cloud rolls in, you feel it. You feel like there's, I gotta get in and protect myself. All right, now come up, see if you can grab the foot. So I notice I rock further over. I'm almost coming, down on my side. Go ahead, come down on your side. Grab the foot, drag the knee down, and pull the leg bone backward. Hold there. So what we're doing for 45 minutes here is we're resolving physical aches and pains so that we can create movement in the mind so that we always feel better, that we're always able to see clearly the path. So take everything in, just breathe in, take everything in. What we're doing is we're shifting our perspective. We're going from a place where, well, I don't know. I feel okay, I guess. Things are fine. So how are you? People go, fine, fine. To really feeling fine, to actually having sort of a smile, the feeling that things are possible again. Now squeeze that same side glute, squeeze that. Keep discovering that I'm gonna feel better. I'm gonna feel better every movement. So you take in everything, take the breath in, and then circulate the breath around. 2 more breaths, leaving everything behind except the goodness. So all that other stuff, that's what I mean. We're purifying our mind. All right, so make your way back to your back. When you get there, hug your knees into your chest. Beautiful. We did a lot of twisting. We did a lot of strengthening around the legs and the hips today. Rock a little side to side. Maybe close your eyes and take 3 or 4 slow, relaxing breaths in and out. Drop your knees to one side. 3 breaths in, out. So just take this moment to honor the breath. If the breath goes in, it's got to do something when it's in there. It may seem to you like you're just exhaling it back out. You're not. And then move your knees and hips over to the other side. The stuff that you're inhaling goes through a process and eventually it gets it to the cells. What it does in the cells is everything. Everything. Everything that a cell is and does is powered by the breath. 3 of them. So when you inhale, think about not just the inhale, but that once the breath is then moved into the body, kind of like follow it. And remember that exhale is just as important, maybe more important, because we have to make space. Just like we made space for our movement here. We have to make space in the cells by getting rid of the debris. And then make your way all the way into Shavasana. So the legs and the arms roll open, roll the chest open, drop the chin down. Let the breath slow down. Imagine that you're resting in a big cocoon, almost like you're floating in a space that's designed just for you to relax you. Imagine almost that there's special air in this space, that even though you're only breathing very softly and quietly, this special air is magically releasing. It's drawing out the aches and the pains. It's replacing those feelings with kindness, compassion. That somewhere, not far from you, there is someone or some people who care very much for you. And their love and their compassion is radiating towards you. And in some magical way, it reaches you here. And you're absorbing their kindness. And now the cells of your body, trillions and trillions of little cells, they all put a little smile on their little faces. And any stuck feelings evaporate. Wherever you are, whatever you are doing, however you are feeling, whatever is happening around you outside of your bubble, in here you are supported. Inside this frame, the thing that you just worked on, believe in a positive outcome. Believe that you are healing and you are whole. That some of your muscles needed the stretch, and so they are now stretched. And some of your muscles needed to strengthen, and so they are strengthened. And some of your muscles needed to learn when to move, when to let go. And now the body has that power. Believe in this positive outcome as you gently breathe in and gently breathe out. You are loved. You are cared for. You are supported right where you are. Now breathe in more deeply. Hold your breath. Let that breath move around in your body, being fully absorbed, and then let it go. Now begin to breathe your belly again. We've created a control, a discipline that our minds and our breath are controlling the middle. So breathe the belly. Let it transform. Now squeeze the abdominals and roll onto your side. Open your eyes and now push up and off the floor. Good. So when you come back out to a seated pose, I want you to create a space where your spine is elongating upward. So squeeze that under toe of the abdominals, elongate the spine, and then so when you take a breath in now, expand the ribs out and in. Out and in. Good. So now we're just going to stretch with the arms this time. When you inhale, reach the arms up, make a big circle, and then exhale, bring that all back in, where you are once again whole. Thank you. Fantastic job, everybody.